Well, hi there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Carpo. Actually, my name is Joshua. I go by Carpo719, and I thought it would be kind of, cool to have a nickname because I was young. We came up with these nicknames for a game we used to play. It was called Zonk, and the game consisted of rolling dice. It was basically the game of 10,000 with dice, but every 1,000 points you take a bong hit, and you'd get pretty ripped and you'd start dropping the dice, and that would be called a spaz. If you didn't take your turn, it was called a space. You'd miss your turn. There was all these weird rules. I wrote them down one time when I was high, and it was like 13 pages of random shit about how to play this game with specific dice drawn out. And let's just say I've had an interesting youth and had a lot of fun. And anyway, not really the topic, but every topic is the topic, right? I mean, we're humans. We're just talking about the things that we think about. And I've been thinking a lot about how we talk about the things we think about lately. It's a beautiful day out here. I mean, I had to go out and put my hat on. I was going to make this video earlier, and I had to go down to my car to get the hat because it was just starting to get cold again. But it was in the, like, what? Yeah, I guess, truthfully, it probably could have barely reached 60 for all I know, because living in the Northwest, it's always kind of cold. It was like in the 40s this morning. So, like, to get, well, no, it was in the 30s. It was frosty on my car. So I had to, like, heat up my windshield. But then it got warm, and I love spring. Spring is on the way. Spring is coming, and I'm pretty stoked about it. And so I thought I'd come out and make a video and talk about just, I guess the beauty of life itself. And there were a couple of other things, more on the negative side. I really try to only discuss things that I find positive. But there are certain aspects of being alive that are negative. It was interesting because I listened to a podcast earlier with Ray Kurzweil. Wait, was it Kurzweil? Yeah, Ray Kurzweil on, I think, Joe Rogan. Yeah, and he, I don't know. It's funny because he's considered a futurist, okay? And the way he's a very intelligent guy. But when I was listening to him talk long form like that, which is why I love podcasts, he was exposing this side that I'd never heard, that most people had never heard, because he was on the spot with a podcast. It's totally different than, just speaking something you've written or a general debate with peers, but just being asked general questions. And he was all for AI and merging with technology and how we can live forever. And I was sitting there listening to it thinking, wow, this guy just doesn't get it. Because Joe was kind of pushing him like, well, what about, it's not that most people want this, because most people figure there's another life beyond this. And he's like, but we have no proof of that. And he's like, in 2045 we're going to have this technology. And he's like, Joe's like, how do you know it's 2045? He's like, well, the math and the charts. And I started thinking a little bit about how intellectualism is like a disability in a way. A lot of folks don't understand that. It's the more you know about things that other people don't. It's a very simple concept. The more you know about shit that other people don't, the more isolated you become in the discussions you can have. And your peers become smaller and smaller. And there's some people who are so smart and have so many great ideas, but miss some basic human elements about what it means to be alive, for example, that not everybody thinks the way that they think. And it's not their fault, and I don't fault them for it. I love hearing what people like that have to say, and to me it's like, I don't know what the future might entail as far as after I die, whether or not there's any heaven. I don't know whether there's another space. Let's just say I'm convinced that this isn't all there is, but I won't go any further than that. And I think part of life is that mystery. Trying to solve it is silly. It's like trying to find answers that you can never prove. you can grasp them and you can see and touch and taste this connection with the ether and with God, but you can't express it or explain it. And people are really coming around to the idea that using the word God isn't such a bad thing. It's funny, I've been using it more lately to just kind of express the intense nature of the experiences I've had. My dog just jumped in the pond. Lucy, get out. Get out. Out. It is absolutely disgusting in there. Well, whatever. That's part of life, right? She'll just have to stay outside. She saw the goldfish. We've had these goldfish in there for like 5, 6, 7 years. And we had some before, but the raccoons came and ate them all. And then this dog does not put up with raccoons. She's had a few fights. And it's interesting watching that conflict between a dog and a raccoon defending their territory, their home, against a raccoon, which most of us don't really mind much, but the dog's always going to mind. And when you've seen your dog fighting with the raccoon, it's really hard to imagine anything more vicious than an angry raccoon with a dog attacking it. But I've having these experiences with her, it's like, I don't know. Now I'm distracted because she's sitting there in this disgusting muddy pond that I haven't had a chance to clean out yet. But that's okay. I'll just keep her outside. I'll hose her down. So, where was I? You know, the idea of big letter, capital letter G, God, isn't something that really occurs to me. It's always a lowercase, in the sense that there are several layers to the intelligence beyond us. And that was one interesting aspect of the Kurzweil interview, and something that's what I kind of forgot. He was pointing out, that we might be the most intelligent in the universe, and that this is all there is, but that we can do better. I don't know. I guess I can't really pin it down. There's just some certain folks that are very stuck in their rigid thinking that seems very open, but really doesn't take humanity into account at all. There are some people who just are not in touch with that side of themselves. The kind of people who need to go to a fucking Dead show or a festival or a retreat somewhere, or a shaman experience, a psychedelic experience with some, guru, whatever it might be that works for them, to get them in touch with community and other people and talking about their, true selves, true emotions. It's something I take for granted, the fact that I've spent a lot of my years contemplating and thinking, probably way too much, about life. Going through, I can't explain how my brain works, but I'm always on, always thinking and processing. And I've come to these conclusions that just everything's okay. Every deep thought I have, the more I meditate on things, the more I try to understand the universe, it doesn't despair me at all. It actually brings me closer to, I don't know, a belief that everything is awesome and everything is okay, and that we're here for a purpose, but we don't understand it. I've come to a conclusion that I can't express in language. Now, a lot of other people have had this same experience. And that's my long-winded way of saying that's what I believe it means to get on the bus. I got on the bus about 30 years ago. That was around the time when I first, I was a teenager. I was, what did I say, 25 years ago? Okay, so it was 93, I think. 03, 13, 23, it was 30 years ago. Yeah. But it was actually like 91 when I first started going to Dead shows and tried and experimented with things that I probably shouldn't have at that age. And the experience I had was one of divinity, and I never was able to really comprehend it or, you know, write it off as just a fluke. I've had experiences with people that are so profound that it rivals anything that I could ever explain in words, and anything that I could ever try to explain to other people in any way, shape, or form. These looks, these connections, things that you just can't write off as mere chance, synchronicities, if you will, in many cases. And you, for me, listening to Alan Watts, I feel like he really put it into a perspective I could understand. Um, Not that I don't, I'm not a Buddhist. I follow my own path. I have my own religion, if you will, and it works for me. But I follow a lot of Buddhist principles based on balance. And basically, if I were to compare myself to any belief system, it would be Zen Buddhism. Take everything as a riddle, a joke, and the Zen master always poses the question back at the student. And these are the things that I use in my daily life. Here's the thing, a lot of people talk the talk. They say, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Hindu, I worship this, I worship that, and I'm happy and I'm spiritual. And then they're miserable fucking people. And they act like idiots and they treat people like shit. So it's not about whether you believe in something or whether you have faith. That has nothing to do with your level of connection to other people or happiness. It has everything to do with how you train your mind to deal with the problems around you, how you train your mind to talk to other people, and how to not let other people's bullshit get to you. I'm going to say this. I guess YouTube is really, the last, say, 8-10 years of the internet have taught me so much about human nature that I could never imagine learning that much in that short a period of time, uh, just dealing with people in your day-to-day life, because you don't get their true thoughts. The funny thing is that at first I would buy into trolls and people harassing me, and I would actually argue with them, sometimes for months on end. What was the point? Just, beating my chest? No. I knew I was in the right, but who cares, right? But looking back on that, I realized how silly it was, and how now I can just write somebody off who says something stupid. A lot of folks say just don't read the comments. That's bullshit. I do, I make YouTube videos so I can answer my comments, so I can respond. I read every single one every day. To this day, I read every comment every day. And it's funny because a lot of channels can't say that. I've had 12 years on here, but it's moderate and it's slowly growing. But I'll say it's at like 24,000 some shit. And eventually here in the next, few months, I'm going to reach 25,000 subscribers. So here's to all of you who have made this channel awesome. And, I hope you don't mind my just kind of rambling stories. I try to focus on a certain topic, and I've written out all these scripts. I have, like pages of scripts I've written for YouTube. And I'm just like, fuck that. I just want to make a video and talk about life. And it's just who I am. It's just how it's working out. I just like to talk to people. And I hope that's enough. But I'll still try to provide something of worthy value. I'll throw in some flashy graphics and banner ads and a whole bunch of stupid sponsorships from goddamn energy drinks and protein powders, things you don't need, shave clubs. I'm just not a member of the consumer society, so I like to kind of poke fun. But I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 next year, 2025. And I want to celebrate my life. I want to celebrate the things that I've achieved and the discussions I've had and the things I've learned, and share those experiences, especially with other people who need them. It's funny because I've been inspired lately a lot. I want to start a business, and this business is going to be, well, let's just say that it's hard for me to want to talk about some of the things I want to do, only because I don't want to inspire anybody who's young or, impressionable, to try anything they shouldn't. I'm going to start a business as a trip sitter. Um, I have a fascination with psychedelics and the way that they've helped me overcome shit, the way that they've helped me deal with my own pain, and I want to share that with other people. Psychedelics are having a huge revolution. I knew they always would, but now I'm pulling the shit where I'm like, oh, I don't want to capitalize on it, and I'm over that. I'm going to use the lessons I've learned and the skills I've learned to set up a business where I go to people's properties, their place, and sit with them and take them through the journey. Now, of course, people would be signing a release form. There'd be a lot to this. You'd have to actually have, them basically, an indemnity clause, I guess it would be, but to make sure that if anything goes wrong, it's you've done your best. But you don't, have the way things have been set up in the past. I've said once people don't take doctors and psychologists too seriously anymore, then I'll step in because I actually want to use the lessons I've learned mentally to deal with trauma and problems to help others overcome it. But I don't have the confidence in myself. But now that's over, and I do have the confidence, so I'm going to do this. And I want to do it for the right reasons. And I think it would be fascinating to sit with people. And I have this idea of bringing them playlists, having specific playlists that they can listen to on headphones while they're in their journey, and sit with them, maybe even partake a little bit. I mean, usually the trip sitter partakes in a very lighter amount because you want to kind of connect and talk to them. But it depends on whether they just want somebody around just in case or to talk to. And I thought, well, how cool would it be to set up a business where people are going to be skeptical of who they're talking to, right? They don't want to have a stranger to come to their house they've never met and sit with them. But if I can send them to my YouTube channel, they can just watch my videos and see how I talk and see my demeanor and what I'm about. And if it works for them, it works for them. And I think that's great. Honesty is what's going to get us through these times. Just being good people and looking for good people. I mean, we're in the dawn of AI where I've caught myself in the last 2 days watching 2 different videos that were AI generated, and I didn't realize until like minutes later, and I'm like, God dang it, maybe holding out and just talking on my channel was the best thing I ever did, because even a voiceover could be totally faked, and it's sad. Bottoms up to that. Buffalo Trace whiskey. So anyhow, not sure what else to say about it, except this was my video that I made on March something, on a Thursday, 2024, that will go in this file of 4,600 other videos that I've made over the past 12 years, which just blows me away. The fact that I have so many. Not even that, but the ones that I haven't uploaded. I'm like, what? Why do I talk to a camera? But I'm glad y'all are out there. It's hard to meet people that have any really interest in what you have to say as a human. Most of us want our opinions to be noticed and recognized. I think that that's not a bad thing at all. It's, we're all insecure. When people bounce their ideas off of us, this is why we get frustrated and we take that one negative comment the wrong way. Why a person could spend all day reading positive comments and reinforcements and thumbs up, but all of a sudden one bad comment and they spend their whole damn day stewing about it. Get over it. People are not going to like you. There's always going to be at least one dude who hates you. It's fine. Fuck them. It's their problem, and it's so hard to get this through to people because, we're all critical of ourselves. I understand that. But, we shouldn't be. I have this charger here, but it's not Oh, I see. I've got it plugged in the wrong plug. There we go. Now I turn it on. It's one of those little battery packs that here, and I put it on Velcro, but it's a fat one. I got it at a garage sale like a couple years ago. This thing will charge my phone like 5 times before it dies. It's pretty dope. I love it. Technology is great. but the drawbacks are immense. Sun gazing now. It's fucking gorgeous, dude. I know you don't want to see it because it's just not going to be the same, but there you go. That's my backyard sunset. Wait, I gotta move the camera over. It's not picking up the sunset properly. That's all right. Anyway, so goes life. So I was gonna originally title this video "I got on the bus," and when I got on the bus, and I've only alluded to it like once in the whole video. It was just funny because it's a term from the Grateful Dead community. Get on the bus, a hippie thing, and I was like, how would I explain this in words? And I was like, you can't, you just can't. So this entire video was what it means to get on the bus. Your brain starts seeing things differently. It's a matter of joining a community of people who see things differently. A lot of folks would say it's a psychedelic thing. It's not only a psychedelic thing. It's a psychedelic thing in the mind, because I I know a lot about psychedelics and I have a vast amount of experience with them, but I rarely talk about them. One of my, the channels I used to talk with, Psyched Substance. He has a YouTube channel, and I was afraid I'd run into trouble talking too much about these things, and he ended up running into trouble. He had the same situation as me. I have kids. He had kids. My kids are in high school and middle school. I don't want them seeing my videos, seeing me talk about psychedelic drugs like, oh, they're great. These things are tools that can rearrange the way that you think, but you need somebody to guide you, and you need to be of legal age. And so, you can give all the disclaimers you want, but the truth is the information's out there. I'm eventually going to do a series on my own trip reports and experiences that I've had. I'll just say that they've led me to believe that there is a higher power. They've led me to believe that what matters most is working hard and trying to do something amazing in this life. And it also taught me that being in this body is better than being in heaven or the ether or whatever you want to call it. And I know I can't prove that or explain it, but I've heard people say, oh, I just want to go to heaven, I don't want to live in this world, this crazy world. It's all in your head that you're making yourself hate this world. This world is absolutely beautiful. Look around. If you're in a place where it's not, get the fuck out. And I know that's not always possible, but a lot of the time it is. People trap themselves in situations, and it's nobody's fault. It's not just their fault. They don't know any better. But you have to get out mentally, regardless of where you live. If you have to walk to the park every day, 10 blocks, to just get away from everything, do it. Because if you're stressed out, you're facing one of the third leading cause of death in the United States and around the world, maybe. Stress. It kills you fast because it causes all types of problems with your body. Producing cortisol, you've heard of that, but there's much more than that. We don't understand it all. Everybody knows how it feels to be stressed, and it wears you down fast. If you don't get enough sleep, if you don't get enough exercise, if you don't relax about the stupid bullshit, then you'll never be happy. And I definitely have had issues with all of them. I don't eat enough, eat the right food. I tend to not always eat the best, and I don't get enough exercise. But I'm a carpenter at work, and I'm climbing ladders and reaching down and bending down. So as long as I'm working, I'm gaining muscle a little bit, but not, nearly as much as a lot of folks would consider healthy or normal. I weigh what I weigh. I'm a scrawny Scottish Highlands character with ancestors that were Vikings and Highlanders from the Orr clan. My last name's Orr, O-R-R. And my other side of the family was German. So we had German and Scottish ancestors. And it's funny because, I don't know, thinking about your ancestry is interesting. whether it even matters whatsoever. Some people are so hung up on that shit. But I'd like to get a kilt that's from the Orr clan, but then I realized there's several Orr clans and don't know which one it is. But one day, I'll make a video in bagpipes and a kilt, and you will be scarred for life. So here I are in my backyard, and I appreciate y'all coming along. I will talk to you next time. Treat each other with respect and be well. Peace out.